Hello, I'm David Roger, General Counsel for Las Vegas Police Protective Association. Recently, I received a phone call from an officer asking what authority officers have to impound a firearm for safekeeping when they interact with an individual who is suicidal inside a home. And this issue is an interesting one because it is evolved through the courts. And so both the First Circuit as well as the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals previously held that officers may seize the firearms inside a person's residence based upon the community caretaking doctrine. And the thought was that officers are impounding the firearms for safekeeping, not because it's part of a criminal investigation, but instead to protect the individual who is a threat to himself or herself or others. And just last year, that case, the First Circuit case, made it up to the U.S. Supreme Court in a case called Caniglia, C-A-N-I-G-L-I-A v. Strom, S-T-R-O-M, 141 Supreme Court 1596, a 2021 case, and I'll attach that case to this email. But the U.S. Supreme Court held that the community caretaking doctrine does not apply to homes. And so they discussed their previous decision, Katie versus Nabrowski, that held that community caretaking doctrine applies to vehicles because there's a lesser expectation of privacy. And so just briefly, the facts of Caniglia are this. A wife calls the police and says that husband is suicidal. They go to the residence, they meet up with the male, they determine that he's a threat to himself or others, and so they're going to do a legal 2000 or the First Circuit's version of legal 2000, and they ask the male to surrender his firearms, and the male says, no, I will go to the hospital voluntarily, but under one condition, and that's that you not take my firearms. And so the police agreed, and once the male was transported to the hospital, they went back, told the wife that they had been given permission by the male to seize the firearms. She let them into the house, and they seized the firearms for safekeeping. The U.S. Supreme Court said first and foremost there was no consent because the male did not give consent, and they lied to the wife in order to get consent to go into the residence. And so they next tackled the community caretaking doctrine. And just simply put, they said that they are not prepared to extend the community caretaking doctrine, the exception to the, or what they refer to as the exception to the search warrant requirement, to homes because of the high expectation of privacy. So where does that leave you? You go to a call, a person is suicidal, they have guns, you want to take the guns for safekeeping. You have a couple of options. One is you can get consent. If the person doesn't want you to seize their firearms, if there are other charges besides the person being suicidal, for example, if the individual threatened his wife with a gun or threatened neighbors or fired a round off inside the house, you can get a search warrant for the gun because the gun is an instrumentality of the crime. So those are two options. And your third option, which quite frankly I don't know that it's a feasible option for you, is the red flag law. NRS 33.560 subparagraph 1 provides that if an officer has probable cause to believe that the person is a threat to him or herself or others, and the person has access to guns, the court can review the matter ex parte, which means just based upon your application without holding a hearing, and decide whether to grant an order to go and seize those firearms. But this is done, I believe, through family court. You have to file a written application, so it's unlike a search warrant, so I don't know that that's feasible. But to be clear, the U.S. Supreme Court says that you don't have authority to seize a firearm based upon the community caretaking doctrine when the firearm is in a residence. and your options are consent, search warrant, or the red flag law. I hope this clears things up for you. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at droger@lvppa.com or give me a call. Thank you very much.